All right, hello and welcome. My name is Amy Royer. I am the project coordinator of the Rural Health Initiative. The mission of RHI is to engage partners to share ideas and expertise and to support communities in improving health while stimulating a higher level of wellness across the state. Thank you all for joining us today for our webinar, The Basics of the Summer Food Service Program, presented by Emily Dunklee and Tirza Asbell from Montana Food Bank Network. So just a few technical details before we get started. Everybody's lines have been set to mute. At the end of the presentation, we will have a question and answer session. At this time, I will unmute all lines, but if you wish to stay muted during the Q&A, you can just do so by selecting the microphone icon in the WebEx control panel, or you can also just press mute on your phone. You can also submit questions in the chat box to the right of your screen during the duration of the presentation, and they will be addressed at the end during the Q&A session. But if you type into the chat box, please make sure that you are sending your comments to all participants. Otherwise, they will only be seen by me. Okay, and then once the webinar is over, you will have an opportunity to provide valuable feedback through a brief survey. It will automatically pop up on your screen, and it will just take a few minutes to complete. All right, thank you again for joining us today. I will now roll the ball over to Tirza, and we can begin.
Perfect. Can you guys see the slides?
So I'm making you the presenter right now, and then you will need to share your screen.
Okay, perfect. Just 1 second. Sorry, we're having all of the technical difficulties today, guys. Thanks for sticking with us. We just want to really quickly thank you for taking time for, learning more about the Summer Food Service Program. It's a program that both Emily and I love very much. It's super fun, and we're really excited to share what we know about it with you. So we're just about to get started. So we just wanted to talk with you a little bit about the Summer Food Service Program in Montana. We're going to talk about a little bit of ways communities can be invested and integrated into the Summer Food Service Program. And then Emily's going to talk a lot today about how you can be a sponsor, if that's something that's interesting to you. So it's a pretty basic and broad overview, but we really do welcome you to ask questions at the end, because it can be confusing, but it's not too hard for you guys. You guys are super smart. So to begin with, the Summer Food Service Program is a child nutrition program that's federally funded that allows sites in high-needs areas to serve meals at no cost for kids ranging from 0 to 18. And it's a really great program because it helps to reduce the amount of childhood food insecurity and the amount of summer slide that those really vulnerable populations can experience, because it combines food and socializing and also enrichment projects throughout the summer. So it's a great way to kind of address a lot of different things that can decrease the amount of academic success that kiddos have during the summer. Summer in Montana, the Summer Food Service Program in Montana is something that consistently grows. There were 224 meal sites in 2016, up from 196 in 2015. And during that time, there were 632,000 meals, almost 633,000 meals served, and that's up about 10% from just a little over 570,000 meals in 2015. So we see this program continually growing, and that's really great. But unfortunately, this program is underutilized by those kiddos who qualify for free and reduced price meals. And in addition to that, there are a lot of counties that are underserved. 16 counties in 2016 had no summer food site, and there were more even that had only one site that served the entire county. So even though we do see growth at a fairly steady pace, it's something that's not connecting to every child that it could probably be benefiting. So some of the ways that communities can be involved in summer food, there's a lot. So you can kind of find out if there's a community or if there's a summer food site in your community or around it. You can learn more about the program. talk to your friends and neighbors about the benefits of the program, and encourage them to go to the sites because it really is meant for all kiddos during the summer. If you are a crafty person or you're a great reader, we also really encourage you to think about volunteering at a summer food site and connecting your talents to that program because it's one of the best ways to support it and as well to enrich the program. So there's a number of ways. Anyways, in addition to doing all of your sites, you can also sponsor, and sponsoring is probably one of the best ways that you can support summer food because it connects those kiddos with the summer food service program, and that can look a lot of different ways. There are a ton of different partnerships that can support sponsoring the summer food service program, including Boys and Girls Club, churches, community development organizations, and schools. So by combining your personal talents with sponsoring a site, it's a great way to make summer food a success. And with that, I'm going to introduce Emily Dunklee, who is the manager of the summer food service site at OPI, and she's also a specialist there. So here's Emily.
All right, well, great. Thanks for having me today, Tirza. All right, so I thought I'd go through the quick overview of what the Summer Food Service Program looks like in Montana. Out of our office, Montana School Nutrition Programs, at the Office of Public Instruction, we implement 8 federal child nutrition programs, and one of them being the Summer Food Service Program. So most of our other programs only run during the school year while school's in session, and the Summer Food Service Program looks to fill the gap when kids are out of school and don't know where to go. So just a little bit about how the funding works for summer. It is a federal child nutrition program, so the USDA supports this program nationally. The baton has been passed off to the Office of Public Instruction at the state level. We oversee program implementation and operation in Montana. We then have sponsors under us, like Tirza mentioned, which sponsors can be schools, private nonprofits, government agencies, or tribal government organizations. Those sponsors then decide where they should have sites in their own communities. So sites, as Tirza mentioned, are at places of high need, places that have over 50% of kids qualified for free or reduced. So if you do decide to take the bigger step and decide to sponsor a summer food service program, sponsors of the program assume responsibility for the entire administration of the program. So that means coming to trainings from the state agency. It means submitting all the paperwork that's required on time. It means submitting claims for reimbursement, training your staff that operate the sites in your local communities, and then submitting the claims for reimbursement so that you get paid for the meals you serve. So under sponsors, sites are responsible for serving meals free to kids age 18 and under, following all regulation sponsored policies. Sites can become sites by being in a high-need area, and we determine high-need areas by either using school data to show that a specific enrollment area is at 50% free and reduced or more, or using census block group data that shows 50% or more of kids 0 to 18 in a certain area being at 50% free and reduced. And both of these things are things you can check in on your own, or you can always call our office to check in on. So once a sponsor decides on a site, one of the next steps to operating the program is deciding what meals you're going to offer. So each sponsor can serve up to 2 meals at each site per day. So here's some of the optional combinations that are allowable under Summer Food Service Program rules. You could do breakfast and lunch, lunch and snack, breakfast and snacks, breakfast and dinner, or dinner and snack. You might notice that the only one that is not on here is lunch and dinner. That's just not an allowable rule under the federal guidelines to offer those same 2 meals by the same sponsor each day at a site. So the easiest ways to get involved with the Summer Food Service Program in 2017, call myself at the Office of Public Instruction School Nutrition Program, or call Tirza at Montana Food Bank Network. Either one of us can kind of point you in the right direction as to where you're at in your community. The first step would be working with your community to identify resources. You know, it might be that you already have a summer food service program in your community, so supporting those existing sites with programming, with money, with volunteer hours, any way you can help is definitely welcomed by any of the sponsors in Montana. Identify whether or not there is an existing sponsor or if, you know, a new sponsor is needed in your community to fit the need. Once you've determined that, you can determine if you want to, you know, add new sites to an existing sponsor or build new sites under a new sponsor. And then once you've kind of figured out where and how you want to sponsor, you can start the application process through our office. And we usually, it's pretty straightforward. If you call us and kind of give us the rundown of what you're thinking, we'll start the application process with you and walk you through it step by step.
And so just to talk a little bit more about how Montana Food Bank Network works with summer food service, the Summer Food Service Program, we partner closely with the Office of Public Instruction to offer sort of technical support with sponsors who might be interested and are curious about if they have, you know, area eligible places that a site could be, to talk with them about the plausibility of communities sort of coming together and supporting that effort. We also create an annual report which looks at the data that OPI collects and make that into a resource to show how summer food is positively affecting children around the state. We worked really hard on advocacy at the national level for the child nutrition reauthorization, as well as anything that works to strengthen child nutrition at the federal and state level. We do a lot of statewide outreach supporting child nutrition programs, so we get to talk to a lot of schools and summer sponsors and just see what's working well for them and see kind of what they would like to, you know, see changed at a federal and a state level, so we really work to collect that knowledge. And in addition to that, if cool things are happening, we like to kind of collect those and share those within our network. So there are a variety of different ways that Montana Food Bank Network can also offer support for summer food sponsors, both new and old. So we're always happy to get those calls and chat with you. So speaking of chatting and questions, I think we're ready to take some questions, if you guys have any about just the program or sponsorship in general.
And I'll unmute everyone's line, and if they have a question, they can ask it or they can just remute themselves. One moment. So just a warning, everybody. Okay, everybody's unmuted. How long, I have a question. How long, do these programs last the entire summer? Because I have heard of some communities mentioning that they sometimes end a little bit before school starts.
Yeah, that is a wonderful question. Because this program is operated locally by sponsors, it is up to sponsors to decide how long they want to operate for. So ideally, we love to see programs that go from, you know, the day after school ends to the day school starts. But sometimes logistically that just isn't possible for sponsors. So that's where having extra help from volunteers or other community groups can really help sponsors out.
Perfect.
I have a clarifying question. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. You had said that at a site, it's 2 meals per site per day, so like lunch and dinner, or not lunch and dinner, that was the only 2 that you couldn't do, but a sponsor could have multiple sites doing different meals, correct?
Correct, yeah, and a lot of sponsors do meet the requirements that way. They might, at the school, have breakfast and lunch, and then more kids hang out at the community center for dinner, so they offer dinner over at the community center, or vice versa.
How come it is you can't do a lunch and a dinner at one site?
You know, I really have no idea. It's just how the federal regulations are written. I don't think many changes have been made to the Summer Food Service Program regulations in decades. So who knows what they were thinking when they made that rule way back when.
Okay, yeah.
Any other questions? I think something, I mean, if you guys are feeling like you have a really good idea and you're really passionate about getting meals in your community this summer, if you get anything from this webinar, please take away that you're not alone in your passion and your efforts. There's lots of people out there that want to help you make it happen. At the state level, at OPI, we're thrilled when we hear from new sponsors. I know MFBN loves hearing from anyone in communities that has an idea for getting more meals to kids so they can grow and learn and get back to school ready to learn.
And we're also kind of the two organizations like to try and make the craziness in your head come together. So it's really good to reach out to us and just, if you even think that it might be something that could possibly work, we're really motivated. Both organizations are really motivated to help you realize like the dream of supporting child nutrition during the summer, because it's so important and it's so helpful to kiddos to make sure that they get everything met during those summer times.
Yeah. There's a ton you can do in your community, whether it's supporting a site, whether it's starting a program on its own. We commend you if you do any of the above two steps. Thank you.
So I have one more question. So about the site eligibility, I remember you said we can either ask you or we can find it ourselves. Where would that resource information be?
So the school level data is easiest if you call OPI to figure out. The census block data is on a USDA map. So if you just Google USDA Summer Food Service Program area eligibility, there's a map that'll pop up. And you can type in your address, and if it shows up as a red area, that means you're area eligible. If it shows up as blue, it means you're not area eligible. And then if you get a not area eligible response from that map, you can always call our office or call MFBN, and we can look up the school level data and see if that changes anything.
Oh, okay.
The school level data doesn't report in that tool.
So eligibility is just based off of income in a specific area?
Yeah, it is. It's either based off of income reported to a school district via their free and reduced processes, or free and reduced reported to the Census Bureau for census block data.
Maybe you talked about this and I missed it. Where are the lunches or breakfast or wherever they are, where are they usually served?
Oh, that's a really good question. We've seen a lot of different places where they're usually served. We've seen sites at libraries, public schools, park sites, public swimming pools, community centers, rec centers, basically anywhere that falls within that 50% free or reduced guideline in a community can be a summer food site. As long as you have facilities to serve food from that location and maybe have some way of keeping kids out of direct sunlight for hours on end. Yeah, it's wide open for whatever the community decides they want to do.
And also, we're really excited to talk about mobile sites. So there's been kind of like this increase in the amount of sites that kind of drive around. So they have little picnic tables that they take with them, and it's either a food truck or a trailer, and so they can go to parks, and that has increased a lot of, I think, the viability in larger communities to reach a lot of sites. So again, summer food is just really adaptable to whatever your community can accommodate.
Sure. So as far as, have you heard from some communities having trouble getting the word out about the program, or are they always well attended? The lunches and breakfasts?
Yeah, I would say that is a common concern, that if, the community hasn't, done a lot of outreach, a lot of times the meal service sites will be underattended. Sometimes what we'll see is maybe the summer meal sites just aren't happening where the kids actually hang out. A lot of times we'll see that schools want to sponsor sites at school because they have staff at their school, they've got their facilities there, there's really great benches and tables and things at the school. But the kids don't want to be at school in the summertime. So I think it goes two ways. It's either not enough outreach or just not going where the kids are. So it's kind of a fine line of balancing where your resources are and where the kids are.
And are there outreach materials available, kind of posters or anything like that, just to get the word out in the communities?
There are. We work with OPI to create outreach materials for communities that have summer food sites. So those go out to places like Office of Public Assistance and other maybe like low-income facing organizations who would, have families who would really benefit from this. And so we send out flyers which contain information about how to find the site yourself. We also create little business cards, and we're always happy to distribute as many of those as we can. So there are existing materials that MFBN does create to do that.
And one of the other requirements, all schools in Montana, and actually all schools in the United States, are required to do outreach for the nearest summer food site before the end of the school year. So parents and kids technically should be getting some kind of information on where those sites are before they leave school. But, it's dependent on the school on what they choose to do for that outreach. Some choose to post it to their website. Some send the flyers home that MFBN makes every year. It's just dependent on the community, I guess I would say.
Sure.
And one thing that I have heard, I know there's a community that actually utilizes their relationship with newspapers and radio stations to weekly advertise the summer food program at the school. And so it's again, community level involvement is just vital to making this program successful.
Are there any other questions?
If you guys want to check out more information about summer food, if you go to opi.mt.gov/summerfood, that takes you to our website and has all the information on reimbursement rates. It has information on where sites are, program regulations, contact info for myself and Tirza are both posted on that website. So have a peek if you want to learn more.
And Emily, what was that? It was
opi.mt.gov/summerfood. No space between summer and food.
Okay. I'm going to see if I can share it to everybody.
Yeah, I forgot to put it on the slide. Thank you.
Here we go. There it is, everyone. Did everybody see that? I just shared the link. Let's try this again.
Do I need to minimize my slides for it to show up?
No, your guys' contact information is popping up. That's good. Okay. Well, if there are no further questions, is that everything that you guys have?
I think so. We'll be doing probably another webinar later in the spring after applications for the program open on March 1st. If you guys do go back to your communities and decide that summer food is something you want to do, we'll send you info on how to join us later this year and how to get the application ball rolling.
Yes, and if any of you are really now motivated to start a summer food site, I will also come to any community engagement meetings and kind of help you with the process as much as I can and kind of help solidify how the arrangement of partnerships can work. So if you ever have questions, I'm happy to come to you as well, or have a call or whatever works best. So I'm really happy and motivated to help you in any way I can.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Tirza and Emily, and thank you everybody who called in today. And feel free to contact either Emily, Tirza, or myself if you have any questions, and we can get you more information.
Wonderful.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.